for me, that scene in Inglorious Bastards.
Hi, Manju.
Which is in the tavern.
Hello.
Hi there.
Is that scene?
Hello.
Where does
Hi.
it
Recording
start
in
from?
progress.
Where it
We are
goes?
recording when you're ready.
Just an unbelievable scene.
Even the
Hi.
Hi. How are you? Hi. Well, loved the series, binge watched it, and I think it's again, like I mentioned it in the earlier set of interviews, that it is like the dawn of the Indian crime drama series. So this is a story that never ages. So tell me about it, all of you. It's always a story you want to hear again and again.
Yeah, I think, as you said, it's a story never ages because at the end of the day, the emotional anchoring is, with the family and the dysfunctionality of relationships which are so relevant, to us as human beings. Also, I think as a society, we are attracted to these characters and these stories somewhere, vicariously live through these characters. I think that's the fascination world over towards crime and, crime dramas. It stems from there. And yeah, I think, the emotion of it is what really, for me, held it together. And I hope that does for the audiences as well.
Okay. Also, the fact that music is, I think, the hero of the series, I felt. Apart from the background score to the music, there's, I think, that curation. I mean, that entire composition of the music is, I think every character has his or her own signature style. I mean, given to, I don't know how you call it, but designed for that character. So tell me about that entire process, because that's also pretty unique, and you have different genres of music playing out throughout the series.
Yeah, also because the narrative goes spans over 3 decades. So it's just music was a great part of the world creation. The effort was to transport the viewers into that time and era, make it an immersive experience, make it believable for them. Of course, a lot of research work did go into the physical world creation. From the music aspect, there were lots of films of those times of the 60s and 70s and 80s that we saw, because the music had to also evolve as the characters and the narrative is. So it was all a part of, creating that world and transporting the viewer so they get an overall experience in every aspect of it, visual as well as, audio.
Right. Also, Farhan, I wanted to ask you, Dil Dhadakne Do had a narrator. This film has a narrator, which is K.K.
Right.
Menon. How different is it when the storyteller is the father?
Well, I mean, it's honestly speaking, I mean, in Dil Dhadakne Do, if you want to position it some way, you could have told the story through Anil Kapoor's character and his learning, about his family. It just, we took an outsider perspective of where we think that, like animals, I mean, they don't have deeper thoughts, but I mean, so it was just playing on that, like somebody was looking at this family from the outside. But I mean, the narrator device was very interestingly used in Bambai Meri Jaan. It is very interestingly used, and because it talks about the inner conflict of the most honest character in the show. The one who actually is the most upright character, who's the most, whose integrity is most intact. And he's looking on to seeing how his family is, in his idea, falling apart. How he has failed his family, which is why the son has kind of stepped in and become like now the father to everyone else. So I mean, it was a nice device to use. I mean, of course, also given the sweep of the tale itself, it's a nice way to kind of bridge time jumps, talk about how things have happened. It's because, I mean, there's a certain tempo and a pace, of course, that's required in stories like this to keep moving along. So it served many purposes.
Right. The character of Dara, of course, is quite empowering. Tell me, how much did it empower you? Because it's got a range of characters. He's ruthless, he is remorseless, but he's also very strong and very convinced about what he does. So what did the character leave in you?
I think the aspirations, there's certain kind of, considering came from a space, a socio-political situation, socio-economic situation which was not very favorable to be able to rise where he did. can become inspiring to some extent. The actions that he chose and unfortunately are not. And thankfully in the show he goes through the consequences for him. But the desire to get out of the ditch that you have fallen into and to be able to build from there on is something that did inspire me somewhere personally, and hoping that I would choose better actions to fulfill my desires.
Right. Also, the women characters throughout the series are pretty strong, pretty empowering. There aren't any. I mean, they always come on their own. In the sense, they always have something to offer more than just And of course, you would expect that in a Farhan Akhtar backed film, also. The fact that the 10th episode is probably when we have Habiba's character come on, take another stance. And we are waiting to see the next set of episodes because that episode is designed in a very strong manner. So tell me about that process, and also the fact that the genders equalize. There is a lot of, balancing there. And as the men are important, of course, but there is this character of a sister who's also very empowered. So while writing it, tell me about it. Tell me that whole process.
It wasn't like there was at least from from mine, there wasn't like a conscious effort, so to speak, to force fit characters. It always was the story of this family. When Hussain Zaidi Saab came with the story with us, it was always the story of this family and their trials and tribulations. And the family is of course made up of a mother and a father and the brothers, and there's the youngest one who's born. And the first episode, in fact, if you link it back, begins with the birth of Habiba. And there is a scene where the boys are trying to are really sad that the mother hasn't given birth to another boy because they want him to play games. So what happens is a relationship that forms between Dara and Habiba, because she's like one of one of them. She's one of the lot, and she's been spoiled. और अक्सर होता है कभी-कभी कि मुफलिसियत है, ख़ानदान में इतने सारे प्रॉब्लम्स है, सबसे छोटा मतलब छूट जाता है, वो खुद से ही she kind of grows up under her brother's wings. But I think the writing of it really brought these characters to life. It happens in our daily lives, right? I mean, I'm a man, but I'm surrounded by some really strong, powerful, women in my daily life, and no one is out there saying that I'm a woman and I'm like, strong and I'm, powerful. It's the dynamics and the dysfunctionality of it. There's a husband-wife. There's a beautiful love story between Ismail and Sakina, and there she is torn between her husband and her children. And what more, devastating for parents to see that their entire bunch of kids have turned to this world of crime. And for me, it was a father questioning, a mother questioning that it's nature versus nurture, right? I mean, did we do something wrong? I mean, did we bring them up right? I mean, what was our parenting right? So these were the layers, right, which were attractive in that sense, and I think they're quite poignant for people to think about.
Right. Thank you very much. My time's up, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge success. Can't wait to see the rest of the series whenever you decide to release it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Recording